Hello everyone, I am CEO Amit Khetan, your host, and today please welcome Mithilesh, founder and CEO SBC. Were you a studious child or a spoiled brat?
I was very mischievous, sir.
The expectations to meet your father.
Even if you get 98, 99 or 95, you used to be like 100 kyun nahi aaya? I was never interested in CA and wanting to play cricket or...
Somewhere you said that, the ledgers record the history, but the leaders create the history.
The point is, when you start developing your own mindset, it actually gives you much more better values.
That's really a big statement. One thing and one lesson which you follow in your life that your father's taught you.
He daily tells me, mind your own business.
And how it is all started.
We wanted to make it as a find people organization. All this won't happen in a CA practice. You are too dreamy about all this. People made fun of me and then they said, tu pagal ho gaya hai. A sentence that local firm hai, local firm hai, local firm hai. Global bana ke dikhaunga. Bol kya hai?
What do you think the journey was more about strategy or like just a sheer belief?
It was never a strategy, sir. First decide and then make it happen. I sold 2 houses.
A chartered accountant who sold his 2 houses. What excites you the most about the tax ecosystem or the compliance ecosystem is evolving in the UAE?
I think the rules and the tax laws are very, very clear here.
Can you share any incident in the SBC where the compliance challenge turned into a strategic win?
So what generally happens is, from a cross-border perspective,
let's check the things up for a quick rapid fire. Excel or ChatGPT? First thing you would automate in the tax process. Most overshoot buzzword in consulting.
people just use it as a buzzword, but they don't really...
And one word your team would use to describe you.
वो बोल नहीं सकता sir.
And what made you to invent this TaxMat AI-based software?
If you see the Emara tax portal or the government portal,
Okay, one thing you have learned the hard way as a founder.
not to hire as quickly as we are doing, not just the salary or not just the package that you give. When we give them an opportunity, the entire lifestyle or clothing and the kind of body language advantage that you give as an initial push will always be remembered.
That's the spirit which I like that. One finance myth you wish people would stop believing.
Revenue cures everything.
Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of the ICAI podcast. I am CEO Amit Khetan, your host and the General Secretary of ICAI Dubai chapter, and today I am joined by someone who is redefining what it means to be a modern chartered accountant. He went beyond the audit and balance sheets to co-build one of the UAE's fastest growing homegrown consulting brand, Steadfast Business Consultancy, and we all knew it as SBC as well. Please welcome Mithilesh, founder and CEO SBC. Mithilesh, first of all, huge congratulations to you. The ITR Vertex 2026, ranking over 500 benchmark studies, the launch of recently the TaxMat AI, and the expansions into the GCC. I would say this not just a growth. This is the momentum you are creating. So welcome, and we are really happy to have you in the ICAI studio.
Thank
Welcome,
you so much,
Mithilesh.
sir. Thank you so much.
Let me start with your childhood. So I just wanted to ask, were you a studious child or a spoiled brat or a very, a naughty or notorious child? How it was?
I was very mischievous, sir, to be answering in one word. A dreamer, I would say, but it was not a specific kind of mischievousness. I was there on the first 5 ranks always, in the class also. And I was also there at the most 5 notorious kids of the school. So it was the same always. And, that was one of the reasons,
You were balancing with both the things, yeah? So at the same time, notorious and as well as studious as well. Okay, so we all somewhere, during your conversation, maybe you have mentioned that your father was like a, Amir Khan of Dangal, right? So how it was like, the wrestling with the numbers and wrestling with the expectations, how it was the expectations to meet your father.
it was always on the positive side. I mean, when I spoke about him in TEDx, it's not like, he used to harass or anything. But the point is, Even if you get 98, 99, or 95, he used to be like 100 kyun nahi hai? And why did you
He
lose
was
that
very
one
demanding.
mark or half mark or something like that?
Wow.
And the other part is right from sixth class or seventh class, he used to tell me that you have to become a chartered accountant.
Uh,
That's the clarity
oh,
that he had.
wow.
I was never interested in CA, and I was wanting to play cricket, or I was into other aspects, but he was very clear, and that's why when I wrote the book, also I wrote his name on the first line.
Uh-huh.
That it was all his dream, not my passion. My passion took over in the last maybe around 8-10 years. Once I came into practice, till the point I came into practice, it was not that passionate for me in terms of the profession as such.
So I'll come on that question also. Like it was your father's dream, but before that, I just want to ask you one more thing. That somewhere you said that the ledgers record the history, but the leaders create the history, right? So I mean, from how where you get this mindset? It was like already there in your blood, or you have just something developed.
Well, what happened is, during your Big Four days, or when you are initially getting groomed in the first 5 years, sir, mostly it is like the standard operating procedure, and you're not allowed to move away from that SOP. You're basically doing what your boss says, and this is how it has to be. You have to report it like that. That's it. And even if you talk 2-3 sentences up and down, or if you are presenting something up and down, it will be taken in a different way. But once you become a manager, once you become a senior manager, director, and once you start growing, you will start developing your own way of presentation, your own way of
Correct,
doing things.
correct, correct, correct.
So in that process, what used to happen is, first the objective, first the delivery, then the SOP started. So
Yeah.
my style started unknowingly. It was
Okay.
not to dominate anyone, or not to downgrade anything. But the point is, when you start developing your own mindset, it actually gives you much more better value, is what I always
Right,
believe.
right, right.
And going by it, it was like reading what has already happened. Audit or ledgers or chartered accountants' general perception is that they tell you what exactly has happened and what you should have done.
Right, right.
But if a leader or an entrepreneur mindset is there, he doesn't care what has happened.
Correct.
What is to be done and
Agree.
where you have to reach will be the point of discussion. So if entrepreneur mindset and leadership mindset are there, then it's not the ledgers, it's
No, that's
the
that's really a big statement, I would say. Like you made it by yourself. So let's come back to that question. Like your father's dream was to to be a chartered accountant. So how about yours? Like how to push, I mean, your boundaries and to pursue your father's dream. Was it easy for you, or you wanted to do something else?
I actually wanted to do something else, but what happens is, after some point of time, when someone is spending so much of time and so much of energy to make you successful, you know, after some point of time, you feel like you have to make it happen. And at
Right,
least for him, you have to make it happen.
right,
That's
right.
the point where I reached at 10+2, or CA intermediate or something like that.
Yeah.
And I said, I'll finish this. Don't worry. I told him one day,
So
I
you were
told him
so
one day that,
motivated.
he was doubtful till that point of time that, ye
That's
kya
really
hoga bolke.
interesting. Uh-huh.
I will finish this. And that's the starting point at which it really took off. And we finished everything at first attempt. I wrote final 2 times, for first group, first attempt, and second group, second attempt. That 6 months period also very
Very.
hectic at house. That they were not able to tolerate that, hoga ki nahi hoga, ye chhod dega, kya
Right,
karega,
right.
that's the
But
mindset.
finally, you made it.
We made it, and we made
You
it.
made you, yeah. We made it, and you made your fathers proud, and
That's it,
you
sir.
fulfilled his dream also. And Mithilesh, actually, a lot of people, when I'm also going to some podcast and all, people are asking me that what is the one thing your father taught you. So the same question, I just, because it's a very specific and very personal and
Yeah, yeah.
something very near to what we follow in our life. So what was the what one thing and one lesson which you follow in your life that your fathers taught you?
He daily tells me, mind your own business. Rule number one. Second thing he always tells me is help. If it is there in your hands, always help and always be a giver.
Uh-huh.
Never, persuade anything more than twice or thrice. If it is not happening, it's not yours. At any given point of time, if it is written, it will come to you. So you keep doing your karma, it will always come back.
Yeah, yeah, that's true actually.
And be kind and always give. Even if you don't have, you give. That's what he says.
That's actually, I mean, and that is the, I think, the rule of the universe. If you are intent to give, it will always come to you in a multifold. And that's same thing my father used to tell me. In fact, I mean, and also one more thing which he taught me, since you didn't ask me, but I just still want to share you that thing also, because in the lot of nowadays the people are saying to their child, just follow your dreams and do what you love. But my father just told me reverse of that, because everybody is not having that kind of that
Luxury
liberty,
and
luxury to do
maybe
what they love.
our generation was the first generation where they were educated and they know what's going to be the next generation.
Correct.
How it will be.
Right.
So they all pushed us towards
Yeah.
studies and all
So
that.
my father told me the reverse thing.
Hmm.
Well, when, of course, everybody is doing what they love, but in your case, if the situations and the circumstances is not right, then start loving what you're doing, and that's what I also, the followed in my life, and that's really I carry with me at the moment. And Mithilesh, you worked in the Big Four,
Yes.
right? So I mean, it's a great pride to everyone wants to work in the Big Four, but what I mean, more important, you have learned over there the leadership or the excellence. What it was.
I think overall, when you compare a local firm versus a big four, so it's more of a system and
Mhm.
the standard operating procedures
Discipline, you mean?
and the overall commitment levels to follow that system.
Yeah.
And everybody follows the rules, and it's not a promoter saying today is this rule, tomorrow it's a different rule. So it's a standard operating procedure, and a system that they follow is more important.
Uh-huh.
And I always believe, even in the big four, I have been given that liberty, I would say, with my bosses and all, that if you behave like a leader, you will get the leadership.
Correct.
Leadership is not given, it's always assumed, and you
Assume.
perform and you deliver,
Absolutely.
and you will get it.
Correct.
That's how they groomed me from the beginning.
Yeah.
And they were the ones who started pushing me to go to tax office and represent at a very young age.
Uh-huh.
And that's really helping me now, even after 18 years, 20 years. The experience that we got in the first 5 years is the most important foundation that you get. So it's more of a system and leadership traits that you give to the next generation, and the responsibilities that they make you assume at a very young age.
Correct.
And that builds the fear within you, so it automatically instills the discipline.
Wonderful, wonderful. And so now the interesting part is, like, since you were working in the Big Four, so how you met with the co-founders of your firm, and who came first to whom? Like, you went to your co-founders or they came to you, let's start it, and how it is all started, let's do it.
So there were 2 3 people who already started the firm, and they were doing
Okay.
it in an isolated way.
Ah.
It was not a SBC at that point of time. So when I came out, we took a small 2 rooms kind of an office, and we said, let's all sit here and work under the same brand, so that we build something and make it as a large firm. And first day, I still remember, I wrote it on the whiteboard that we will have a HR, we will have an admin, we will have a IT, we will have a front desk, and all this stuff on the whiteboard. Then they said, "Tu pagal ho gaya hai." Yeah, all this won't happen.
So
All this won't happen in a CA practice. So you are too dreamy about all this. And we kind of made it happen within first 2 3 years itself.
Oh,
So
that's great.
I sold 2 houses.
My God. Really?
Really, I
So
sold
I
my
heard that, I mean, not heard, actually, I read that book, the monk who sold his
Yeah,
Ferrari. So in your case, like
it's yeah, I love that
a
book.
chartered accountant who sold his two houses. That's
So
wonderful.
I sold my father's villa at the outskirts, and I sold my own 2 BHK apartment also when I started entering, because we wanted to hire some 20-30 people and wanted to start an outsourcing segment at that point of time. Want to take a full floor. It was a big dream.
Correct,
So
correct.
either in or out completely. Let's go for it. Was the mindset at that point of time, and nobody stopped. Even the family and everybody said, "Do whatever you want, no problem. If this is the dream,
That's
do
the
it."
great support you got
Yeah,
from your family. I think that was also a kind of a blessings.
yeah.
So you mentioned that you started your journey like at two rooms in office in the Hyderabad, and I think if we see it today, it's been a very long journey. So I mean, you can take us back to the very first day, your initial days you started. It's some kind of an incident, or you want to share it something.
And I'll tell you, incident where a client called on the first day that I just got transitioned from Big Four to the practice, and I came into the first day, and we were doing the puja, and I sat on the first day on the chair. And a client called and said, "If you are not there, I'm not going to give it to that Big Four. I'll give it to you." And I said, "Sir, wait for 6 months, 1 year at least." And the entire retainer, and I still remember the client,
Uh-huh.
the tax compliances, the retainer, and the entire portfolio was worth of 25 to 30 lakhs at that point of time.
Mm-hmm.
It was 2017. So that really helped the momentum. It was like a positive vibe that was given.
Wow.
That was only because of the confidence that they had, that if this manager or the director was not there, then it is not worth to be with the brand. It's not to degrade anybody, sir, but it's the personal connect and the confidence and the way in which the client looks at you, that this guy can go to any extent to get you the result. If that trust is there, then automatically clients will follow.
Correct, correct.
So if responsibility and the demonstration is important. Once that was there, it was not a competition with the Big Four, but it went like a corresponding entity, that if you don't have that, we will go to the other part.
Correct.
So this kind of vibe started, and I didn't mean it, but it ended up like that. But everybody took it positively. There was no
So during this journey, I mean, have you ever felt that, it's a very big dream to follow, or that fire you were having, in to start your, so that ever fed also during this?
every night I kind of do a reconciliation, sir. So
Every night
every night I
reconciliation.
the last peg or the last puff that I have, I kind of do that reconciliation.
Uh-huh.
But the point is, there was no doubt on the trajectory, but
Uh-huh.
it's only about the timing and how many years and how many months it is taking. I have a reconciliation on the timeline, whether it is happening on the exact date or the targeted date, or it's still going beyond.
Right, right.
Trajectory was never in a doubt. It was only the timing and the pace in
Timing.
which it was
So
happening.
I think, I mean, that's a very big statement, and all the CA students also who's listening and who will be watching this podcast, I think they also must listen this. The journey is just not linear. Actually, it's the built on the stumbles and the stand-ups, I would say. So, Will, if you look back, what do you think the journey was more about strategy, or like just a sheer belief? Like when you started, so it was kind of a strategy you made that stepwise I will go on this level, or it was just
It
a
was
sheer
it,
belief?
it was never a strategy, sir. Not
So
at
it
all.
was your
It was
strong
sheer
belief.
belief, and first decide and then make it happen was the
Wonderful.
attitude. And I got bowled for the first ball itself sometimes, and people made fun of me, and it was not
It's
always
not easy.
the rosy side.
Correct.
But the point is, when you take your chances, when you go to that extent of let's make it happen by
Right.
hook or crook, sometimes you hit bingo. So that's what I like about doing things like that.
Uh-huh.
And the other most important thing is, if you have a gut feeling that it will happen. 80 to 90% in my career, it happened.
Mm-hmm.
It was never that, I felt that something would happen and it didn't click or it didn't happen. So it's a strategy. The strategy always followed the gut feeling or the sheer belief that, to answer your question. But it clicked 80 to
It
90%,
clicked.
80 to 90%.
So it was not a pure strategy. It was sheer belief along with some kind of the strategy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now in the next segment, let's come to the UAE leap. Now we talked about
Yeah.
your initial days, how you started, you followed your father's dream. Now let's come to the UAE leap. So you shifted before the corporate tax storm was here, right? So basically, you have foreseen that storm before anyone else brought their umbrellas, and that's something serious foresight, which no everyone, I would say that everyone cannot see in that way.
So it was not a foresight that nobody was able to see. Uh, 2022 from 2019, in fact, the CBCR and the tax gray list notifications and how to
And the UAE was
remove
moved
it,
out
and
from, yeah,
since 2017 you can say
correct.
the shift was happening.
Shift was happening, and
And
2019 VAT
yeah,
happened.
and by 2022, I think, when we came here for the first time for ICI guidance note on transfer pricing, and the initial drafts were being prepared from International Tax Committee Delhi. That was the first time when we interacted with the top chartered accountants here, and everybody said that there is a huge lacuna on transfer pricing. And one of them was Nirav sir at that point of time.
Ah, okay.
And he said, you should start an entity, and you should make these road shows and educate the chartered accountants.
Chartered accountant.
And it's not a big four forte anymore. And if you are there, and if you help the chartered accountants, they can perform and they can start acting upon transfer pricing. So why don't you start? So that was a trigger point. And then Balram and me were always friends even before all this happened. And we were thinking to set up a JV at that point of time. Then Naveen came into the picture,
Came
and
into the
we
picture.
all got along very nicely.
Uh-huh.
And it all started UAE for me. But from foresight perspective, everybody knew that corporate tax and transfer pricing was coming, sir.
Was
But it was only the timing and the ecosystem that supported you, I would say. It was
okay.
through ICI in the beginning, and then all the fraternity helped here.
Uh-huh.
And mostly the B2B is the largest segment for us, if you see even now. So the other CA firms and then the fraternity itself have
Correct.
given 80 to 90% of the revenue. So I think 30 to 40% is B2C for us. 60 to 70 is B2B.
B2B.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it is huge.
Huge. Yeah.
And we couldn't even pitch for B2C going into the market. It was such kind of
Because we
volume.
are busy with B2B.
It was such
Moderate.
kind of volume that we had to first clear the first year of compliance with that kind of momentum only. If you start pitching for new clients, and if something happens to the existing relationship, it wouldn't end up
And
in a good way.
that's how you developed that recently, your tax mate. I will come on later,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you just said it like it is more focused on the B2B.
B2B
Right?
segment.
So
Yeah.
my next question then, now you see that UAE is the rule-based modern tax jurisdiction, right? So what excite you the most about the how the ecosystem is, the tax ecosystem or the compliance ecosystem is evolving in the UAE?
I think the rules and the tax laws are very, very clear here, sir. I mean, right from day one, if you see and compare it with other jurisdictions, we work for almost four jurisdictions. And I'm not comparing it with India, but
Understood.
what I'm trying to say is, right from day one, the announcements and the way in which the guidance notes and the clarifications and everything were announced, and the timing of, except for one or two in the last week that they did, I think the rest of the things were perfect, and there was clear intent behind each and everything.
Okay.
And UAE as a market gives you a competitive landscape.
Mhm.
And what I found is, you have that edge to compete even with the big fours or any other, category one firms as well, which is not the case in any other scenarios or any other markets. you have an equal say here, and you can demonstrate that leadership also. That competitive landscape is missing in the other markets, I would say. Here,
Right.
if they give you that space, they tend to give you that opportunity, they tend to listen to you, and if they like you, then you are there. If they don't like, then it's not there.
Correct.
But at least they are adaptive enough to give you that competitive edge over the category one firms. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're now we are a little bit from the UAE, we are now shifting to the global outlook. So for the global outlook, your tagline is there, local connect and the global outlook. And I think that's the spirit of the SBC as well. So how do you bring the balance into your life across like shuffling or shuttling between the across the UAE, India, US, and I think now you are spreading your wings in
Yeah.
the GCC as well, right?
It's tough, sir. I mean, to be in multiple places at the same time. But we kind of managed it well and thoroughly planned. And, the local managers and the partners made it so convenient in the last 1.5, 2 years, I would say. But if you ask me, the strategy was to spread at least to 5 to 10 jurisdictions as such in the initial, 10 years. And we are successful in 4 jurisdictions now, and maybe
Wow.
another three might come in the next 1.5, 2 years. So, and we wanted to make it as a 500 people organization. That was my first statement when I came into practice. That we should be 500 people, and we should have this kind of turnover, this kind of market space and all.
Right, right.
It is not to compete with anybody, but it's a personal landmark or a personal milestone that you set for yourself, that you kind of run for.
Correct.
And that the tagline also was coming out of that sentence, that local firm hai, local firm hai, local firm hai, global बना के दिखाऊंगा बोल के आए.
इसी के ऊपर मेरा नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन है. सो ग्लोबल बना के दिखाऊंगा. आई मीन यू ऑलरेडी प्रूवन दैट the global, you doesn't need a global name to deliver on a global level work, right? So what keeping you that standard alive on daily basis, because you really proved it,
Yes,
right?
I mean, there are almost around 5 to 10 firms who have done that along with me, sir. But the point is, there is a kind of a sentiment or a kind of branding that our guys portrayed in the public domain, and they really own the brand. That came from the articleship period that they worked,
Okay.
and that's what I would say. But more than anything else, it is more to do with the delivery. If you standardize the product, if you standardize the delivery, and if your rituals are standardized, and you be um, customized or flexible on your tactics and the fee structures, and you played with the relationship. I sometimes say free में करके दूंगा छोड़ दो छोड़ ही दो and that hurts the firm in terms of P&L and all. But the point that I'm trying to tell you is, if you're flexible in those areas, and if you're fixed on the delivery, then once they start the relationship, I think
Yes.
then they understand what the real intent is.
Correct.
It's not always about the pricing or
Right. Right.
advance and payment terms and all these things.
Correct.
Forget all that. I'll deliver first, finish it off, then we'll talk about money.
I think that's the best strategy, that first you deliver and then talking about the pricing. That's where you can pitch very strongly.
Yeah.
And there you can, I mean, the client also will not negotiate much. So, Mithilesh bhai, I also wanted to ask one more question about your the name. So, how you decide the name, that Steadfast Business Consultancy? Where this name come from in your mind?
You'll laugh with this story, sir. I was in EY, and I told you that there were 3 or 4 people who were working outside the firm at that point of time, and we had to start the firm, and I was about to come out, and my friend called me and said 2 3 options, and the last option was Steadfast. I said, "Kya?" Well, steadfast. And he said, "I only heard fast. I didn't hear
Then heard it the first
steady.
name stage, huh?
Laga de bolke." That's how we started it. But ultimately it was very long, so we cut it short to SBC, the starting three letters, and we took the trademark and patent on that, and we started doing the branding around it.
Uh-huh.
So that's how it became SBC.
So can you share something, any incident in the SBC where the compliance challenge turned into a strategic win?
On a daily basis, sir. So
Really?
what generally happens is people who generally come to us at a global M&E level also, they kind of take the feedback and come in terms of what we have done for the other clients and in their set of portfolio or the same industry set of people. So what generally happens in entrepreneurial mindset or people at C category, wherever they are, performing their duties, they start looking at compliance as a burden, and it's like a cost. It's not to do with any kind of profit center, and it adds to the value kind of a zone for them.
Right, right.
So what we started telling them is, if you understand these compliances and the structuring properly, and if you give importance to this at the very beginning,
Mhm.
then you can tune your cash flows, the business activities, transactions in such a way that it can give you the maximum benefit.
Right.
You decide the objectives and destinations and leave it to us in terms of the compliance flow and the business transactions.
Mm-hmm.
And we set the transaction structure, and then you implement that structure.
Oh,
Then you see the cash flows.
then you see the cash.
And then we have X number of examples for an e-commerce guy, for a pharma intangible, for a software company. And in the last 6 months, we have done 6, 7 transactions. So what generally happens is, from a cross-border perspective, anybody coming to Dubai or anybody who's moving out of Singapore also,
Mm-hmm.
the tax advantages are humongous here, and the infrastructure is humongous. In terms of intangibles, this is the best place now. Even compared to Ireland, I feel that people should come here and develop the intangibles.
Yeah.
So the point that I'm trying to tell you is, once the law has opened up and evolved, people are to be educated on that. And once the entrepreneur knows that these are the advantages,
Mm-hmm.
then they will build their architecture and infrastructure or the business model around it.
Correct, correct,
If
correct.
they don't understand that, it's just the compliance
So
cost.
you turning all the compliance challenges into the strategic win for most of your clients.
Yeah.
So I just ask you, but yeah, there are many.
Yeah.
So Mithilesh, by now, we reached to a very interesting part of this podcast where I'll ask you some rapid fire
Yeah.
questions and just try to answer in like one word or one sentence, like more crisp.
Yeah.
So let's make it a little interesting.
Sure.
Okay. So let's shake the things up and for a quick rapid fire things. Yeah. Excel or Chat GPT, what opens on your screen more often?
Microsoft Teams will be
सर ऑप्शन माइक्रोसॉफ्ट का ऑप्शन नहीं है.
Excel, I would say. I'm
Still
not
Excel.
still that ChatGPT person, but Excel.
Okay, first thing you have would automate in the tax process.
Compliance, and on a daily basis, what I would do is automate the compliance in such a way that litigation ends.
And that's why you
Yeah.
invented that TaxMate AI. Okay, most overshoot buzzword in consulting.
Tax efficiency, tax structuring, effective tax rate. People just use it as a buzzword, but they don't really intend.
Okay, one finance myth you wish people would stop believing.
Revenue cures everything. It's not
Okay,
the
and
bottom
one
line.
word your team would use to describe you.
वो बोल नहीं सकता sir.
Okay, so
I'm a filmy person, but they call me by all sorts of names. But relentless or persuasive will be. Yeah.
okay. And one book or podcast every entrepreneur should check out, in your opinion.
Monco sold this Ferrari.
That you really followed in your life as well. The chartered accountant who sold his houses, I would say. Okay, your go-to productivity hack.
Teams for me is the best possible thing, because
Okay,
Teams and Copilot nowadays.
Copilot.
Yeah.
Okay, if SBC had a mascot, what it would be?
a robot with a tax and trajectory compass. So
Not a book, a robot with a tax mat, or the book which you co-authored recently.
no, not a book, sir. I mean, it's a compass showing the trajectory on how you have to go along with the taxes.
Right. Okay. One thing you have learned the hard way as a founder.
Mm, not to hire as quickly as you should, as we are doing. I think that was one of the hard things that I learned. We should always take time and analyze and do 2 3 rounds before hiring.
Before hiring.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Biggest we have made it moment so far SBC in at SBC.
I think a huge public domain database company was referred by a principal chief commissioner,
Mhm.
and he said he's one of the best guys. You should go to him, and it was coming from the main guy himself at CBDT. So it was a big
So
moment.
that was then
It
we
was
have
a
made
it
it.
was it was a big moment for me.
Okay. The last one of the rapid fire, one startup glitch that actually turned out true.
Culture is strategy for a breakfast. Culture is very important.
Okay. So here we end up our rapid fire. Now let's move to some tech, techs, and tomorrow. So the next, like, speak about just a little. You built the TextMate recently. The TextMate, the AI based the software for the tax and the transfer pricing. So what gap did you see, and what made you to invent this TextMate AI based software?
It If you see the MRA tax portal or any of the government portals for tax filing, sir, it's the profits from business or the P&L net profits that starts the computation or the schedules and allowances, disallowances, and all. But the way in which you are uh, categorically developing your strategies, positions, and the way in which you are drafting your intercompany agreements or the ledgers directly getting into the P&L and the allowances and disallowances to be planned in a way that it gives you the best possible tax efficiencies was not there. So what we did is from the trial balance, if you can directly link the computation, and from there, if the computation is giving you the ifs and buts and asking the questions on the specifics which are being missed out,
Mhm.
and if a repository can be created for all the documents that you want to store in terms of financials, agreements, position papers, or whatever are the certificates that you are compiling, and a checkpoint for each and every condition that the tax law wants you to maintain as a documentation. All these were written as objectives on the whiteboard.
Mhm.
What were the shortcomings and what was the India experience that we had, and what was the best possible filing softwares that we worked on
Mhm.
as the advantages and the shortcomings. We
Okay.
brought everything together and then started working on it.
So
So
with
that's the launch of the taxmate idea. Yes.
so that's how you made
Yeah,
your
yeah.
own tech, right? Okay, speaking about the strategy, like litigations seems to be your next big frontier, right? So why do you call this the next wave in the UAE market, that the litigation?
So, the fees of why tax and why the compliance is slowly, gotten over because of the first year tax compliance being done. But the way in which it has to be done, the way in which the authentic way in which it has to be filed, and the discipline is still, you know, 40 50%, I would say. So once the first round of litigation in terms of the notices and the shortcomings and the expectations of the FTA are being very clear, the litigation process is very clear. I think by then the actual clearance from a tax implementation perspective will be complete. The entire cycle of implementation of tax will be complete. So I'm talking about the rest of the 50% who didn't do it well, or who just filed it for the sake of filing, or they didn't pay the real required taxes, or they just opted for tax
Mhm.
exemption and escaped or
Right,
whatever.
right, right,
I'm
right.
saying 40 50% are there still. So if at all the tax notices start jumping on to all this, and I'm sure that the UAE government is very tax friendly, and they're not pushing as much as they
Correct.
should, and they were really friendly even at the last week of filings.
Right.
But what I really presume is, looking at KSA, looking at the other jurisdictions, the way in which the block audits are happening, if they pick up the top 20% also in terms of the tax deficiencies, or the
Right.
tax avoidance kind of scenarios,
Yeah.
it will be huge. It will be
Correct.
huge, and it will be a real whip on those kind of 20% cases. So the experience, what we carry there in terms of litigation, representation, documentation, defense, out of the 20%, at least a 5 or 7 or 10% can be saved because of the lack of documentation or because of lack of understanding.
Correct.
If they would have had their facts, so say suppose a loss making company is there, it really has an unabsorbed depreciation, or unabsorbed capacity kind of situation. They
Understand.
didn't do that documentation. They felt they're in losses if they're doing with a related party.
Correct.
They don't have TP documentation. And by the end of the first year, second year, if they get an audit notice for 2 years or a 3 years bulk period, then they really need help. So that is one example that I'm giving you. And there was also quite a lot of scenarios where there was excessive or unreasonable tax holiday being parked, knowingly or unknowingly.
Right.
They're dealing with a third party, but export scenarios, or supply chain is as such that they get high profits. But on paper, if you see at the end of the year, they're having high taxes or high profits being stored in the tax holiday scenario.
Mhm.
Those are the kind of circumstances that can be really proved and saved. I'm talking about the 5 to 10% out of the 20% notices that might come out also.
Yeah.
So there is always scope for that
Go
kind
for
of
that. And
balanced savings. But I feel in UAE there's a huge scope because of the tax structure that is
tax
created, because
structure,
9%, 0%, and
the
the
more and more compliances
related party
coming.
transaction volume that we have.
Right. Right. So how SBC is prepared for that? I mean,
So we are
so to yeah.
preparing a series on the entire litigations that can come, industry specific issues that can be evolved. And yesterday or day before, we launched the entire FTA life cycle and the legal process in which the articles are framed for the
Ah, yes.
litigation
That
process.
series, yes, I've got the invitation also
Yeah.
from Balram.
So the entire sequence, we are trying to educate people and also the B2Bs in such a way that if you get a notice, what are the things to be done,
Mm-hmm.
and are you audit ready, and if at all these are the circumstances and these are the positions that you have taken, what are the background documentation that you have to be ready with, if at all you need, if at all you get a notice. So we're doing it with audit readiness at the beginning, and if at all you really get it, how to be ready within those 15 days or a 30 days notice period is what we are creating the momentum with. Let's see how it
So
goes.
I think you are one step ahead from rest of the consulting firm. You are foreseeing
We were
this.
trying to help everyone, so that's it. Yeah.
No, no, that's the spirit which I like, that first you focusing on to help the clients, and then the rest of the things will follow automatically. And let's talk now, which is very, since you were talking about the helping, which is very close to my heart. I heard also, and I came to know that, and I really love that, you are investing in the CA students and the women professionals. So what inspired to you to do that, and what kind of the opportunities you are creating for that CA students and the women professionals?
I was one among them when I couldn't get such kind of opportunities. To be honest, we were not from a very big family. We were a very modest and humble background. But I always tell people from tier 2 or tier 3, when they come to Hyderabad, or even in our office here in UAE, when we give them an opportunity, the entire lifestyle or the clothing and the kind of body language advantage that you give as a initial push will always be remembered.
Right, right,
So it's not just the salary, or it's not just the package that you give, but the kind of grooming and the help that you give at the initial path of your careers is very, very important. That confidence always stays with you.
right.
And we kind of selected around 5 to 10 candidates, and I invest in their lifestyle, clothing, and the way in which they groom themselves, and how the brands that we should select and how it has to be. it's a different kind of a grooming. It's not a typical education or anything of that sort.
Understood.
But we are also funding the CA final for some of the tier 2, tier 3 kids where their parents are farmers and drivers and all this sort of
That's
things.
really wonderful.
So I like those kids that somehow, I don't know, but
No, that's really noble, Mithilesh bhai, I would say, and that is how we can give back to the society and to our fraternity, right? And now the most difficult part, I would say. Consider me like we are talking for 30 minutes now. Just consider me I am your client, and you have just got the 1 minute to pitch your SBC, me as a client. And the difficult part is that you cannot use the word quality, trust, and expertise.
let's
Your time starts now.
we are SBC, a tax consulting and global advisory boutique firm, and we serve clients almost in 16 different industries and domain expertise or subject matter knowledge, I would say. And we are almost like 300, close to 300 plus people. And we have three sets of offices, and we deliver to clients across the globe. And we offer category wise solutions in terms of industry, domain, or specialized tasks in terms of client advisories, structuring, documentation, transfer pricing, transaction specific volumes as well. But in terms of your expectations or in terms of your understanding of the facts, we can tailor the the subject matter domain specializations, and we can give you a dedicated team in terms of solving the problems that you have. And we would love to do an impact analysis first and then deliver the required deliverables later. So that's our style to pitch for you. And if at all you have a dream destination to reach, and the way in which you want it to be achieved faster and further, we are the consultants to be partnering with you. We are SPC. Let's talk.
Congratulations. Now I'm your client. So, Mithilesh, thank you so much. I think it's been more than a business conversation. I think it was just a talk between the two intellectuals where entrepreneur meets with the ethics, And I'm really impressed with your story from the two-room setup in India to shaping the litigation strategy for the GCC. So I wish you all the best and congratulations for your this marathon journey, I would say, and all the best wishes for your future endeavors.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Mithilesh, for coming here and joining ICI podcast.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To our listeners, check out www.sjllc.a and follow at the rate Steadfast UAE, and don't miss the TP Litigations Ready series. Until next time, this is C. Amit Khetan signing off. Thank you and have a great day.